All right, back at it we go. At home with Gary Sullivan. As I peek outside, thank goodness that tree's only got about 10% of the leaves yet because it's been killing me this week. And I got some work ahead of me.
Poor Gary.
I know. It's a lot of work. Tell you, get that mower out, get that rake, and get going. I told you I'd have Jeff Wieland on, and he's the man behind Wieland Builders, and they build custom homes. We've had Jeff on before, and Jeff, welcome again to At Home with Gary Sullivan. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Gary. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful day, isn't it?
It depends on what you make of it, but the weather's not cooperating too good today. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fall. I love fall. I do. I love fall, and if it gets a little cold and a little dreary this time of the year, I'm quite all right with it. Tell us a little bit about Wieland Builders. I mean, you're the man behind it right now, but it's a good family business. It's been in the greater Cincinnati area for some time.
Absolutely. My mom and dad started Jack H. Wieland Builders in 1966. But prior to that, my dad and both of my grandfathers, my mom's dad and my dad's dad, they were building apartment buildings, building a house here and there. My dad and his dad were building prior to that, and it's just been a long family tradition. So, in all, our family's been in this business for probably around 75 years in just building houses in Southwest Ohio. Leads up to my brother and myself, leading up to today for Wieland Builders, and we build wonderful, beautiful custom houses in Southwest Ohio here. So it's just, man, it's amazing to be able to do this. It's amazing to be able to be part of this industry and just to get to meet so many cool people is probably the coolest part of it.
Sure. I guess when your dad was running the business, Jeff, were you, I'm not going to say involved in the business, but did you hang around in the business? Did you go to the homes like so many family businesses start?
I didn't have a choice, and so I started. My first job was with the Home Builders Association, working at Homearama, and that was when I was in the 6th grade. And we would get the show ready to go. So we would have to put all the white stakes in, we'd have to put all the rope up, build some fence, cleaning the streets, and then during the show we'd get to. I think our biggest reward was we get to drive the golf carts around and pick up trash, which doesn't seem like a great idea today, but from there that would last first maybe June, I think, is when the show was, and then I go to work for my dad the rest of the summer. And my brother is 4 years older than I am. He had his license and he worked on the framing crew, so I would ride with him to work, and then I would work for my dad cleaning up job sites, and Mike was on the framing crew, and then we just kind of progressed from there. And I've been doing it ever since. So it's to say the least, I've been around it my whole life.
Yeah. So every business changes, and I'm sure building homes has changes, and it has its peaks and it has its valleys. How does home building stand today?
That's a good question, because today, I always talk to people and they're like, "Oh, we're so busy," and I'm sitting here looking at my company going, "Man, we've been slow. There must be something wrong with me." And then all of a sudden we'll start picking up and we'll get busy, and then I'll be talking to somebody else and they'll say, "Well, we're really slow, man. Things have really slowed down." So I'd say right now that the interest rate doesn't affect the more expensive homes as much as it does the less expensive homes. Mm-hmm. And because people are relying on it. So when that interest rate ticks up, then the big guys, the production guys, really slow down, because it affects their customers more than it affects our customers. And now, don't get me wrong, it affects everybody. I mean, every dime counts, but it just affects people differently. So I would think that in the custom world, these guys are still chugging along. Things are going good. The more I talk to all my friends, and I'm friends with so many of the builders here in Southwest Ohio, that we're all trying to do the same thing. And even a lot of our trades are trying to do the same thing. After the recession, we want to do more dollar volume with less houses. And the reason why we want to do that is because we want to be able to control what goes on each job. We want to have a better relationship with our customers, and we don't want to be running 100 miles an hour with our hair screaming out, and pulling out. So I think that's, and I talk to a lot of my trades, and they're the same way. They say, "I don't want to get 50 employees. I want to do it with 2 or 3 employees. I want to be able to, make a living and be able to enjoy myself and still do good quality work." So I think in the custom world, that's probably what most people's focus is anymore. in the production world, those guys are looking, and we're all doing the same thing too. We're all looking for land all the time. And big production guys are looking for huge pieces of land, and the custom guys, we're looking for individual pieces of land to be able to build our custom houses on.
So how has designs changed in homes since you've been involved?
Well, I can say that in the beginning, when I graduated college in '97, and I come home and I felt like the houses were still pretty much traditional. I mean, it's what we've always done. And you're building 2 stories, you're building ranches, and every room was a room. It was walled off. It had 4 walls and a door. And now today, even with 2 stories, we're trying to open those plans up as much as possible. So when you walk in the front door, you can just see 180 degrees. You can see the family room, you can see the kitchen. One of our biggest design techniques is I like to be able to walk in the front door and look right out the back windows of the house, so it's that open, and you can see glass and a lot more windows. We use a lot of doors as light coming in, so we have 16-foot wide doors, sometimes 25-foot wide doors that have floor-to-ceiling glass in them, and it just opens it up. So, and I think that the other thing is that I can count on one hand how many traditional 2 stories I've built, which means that all the bedrooms are on the second floor and all the entertainment spaces on the first floor. I'd say 99% of what we build is these are first floor master, which is, you have a few bedrooms upstairs and the master bedroom on the first floor, or you build a ranch where all the bedrooms and all the entertainment is on the first floor.
Yeah, you got a beautiful showroom right in Westchester on Taylorsville Road, and I think it was on Thursday I was out there and you were showing me exposed beams and different things like that. That one picture you showed me, it was beautiful. I mean, and I see in different homes too, not only just the tray ceilings, the amount of activity that's on a ceiling now seems to be a big design feature.
Every one of our plans now, you used to say, everybody say, can you read a blueprint and you're looking at a floor plan? Now we have 3 or 4 pages of reflective ceiling plans. And because every ceiling that we do in every room has something different going on in it. So we have beams, we have a coffered ceiling, we have tray ceilings, we have cathedral ceilings, and then once you do the cathedral ceilings, you have different types of beams that you're going to put in there. And then beyond that, then we start talking about putting some kind of decorative design on that ceiling and painting it different colors and putting different applied moldings on the ceiling. And it's just man, it's so cool. And I say this all the time is architects and other people have a saying that says, if you feel comfortable in a room and maybe you don't know why, and it could be the ceiling height, it could be the paint color, it could be the people you're with, it could be anything, but all of those little details take a toll on how you feel when you're standing in that room, and it's incredible when you really knock it out of the ballpark.
Well, I totally agree. And the ceilings that I saw at your place, just outstanding. And you use the word, I've heard this word used at least 3 times this week. It's just odd because I've never heard it really be referenced in new homes or even remodeled homes. Is this home is comfortable. And the first time I heard it seriously was just not long ago, and now you used it again, and I'm going like, there's really something to that. I mean, there are homes that when you enter into it, it just is a comfortable home. I don't know what it is that makes you feel it, but there is things called comfortable homes and not so comfortable homes.
Exactly. It's so hard to put it into words.
Yeah.
So somebody would say, what makes your house any different than anybody else's house? And I'm like, well,
it's a
I
truth,
built it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. So you want to be able to just show people and stand there and even curb appeal, even in the rooms, you got to be able to stand there and show people what exactly you're talking about. But I think that, when you walk into a model home or you walk into a place that's so pristine that you don't want to touch anything. And while that's really cool looking and we want to take pictures of it and we want that to look good, I don't think you want to live there because you keep going around all the time and then you'd be uncomfortable. So I think that when you use the word comfortable, I want to make sure that people are, walking in the door and whatever stress you had that day, you leave it outside and then you're walking in and you feel comfortable walking into your own home.
Excellent. So you've been in business for about 75 years. Jeff Wieland's my guest. We're going to take a break, Jeff, and I know you got a couple of things that are very newsworthy we want to share with everybody. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. Our conversation will continue, and you're at home with Gary Sullivan right here on 55 KRC, the talk station. All right, back to our conversation with Jeff Wieland. He is with Wieland Builders. They do custom homes. We've been talking about designs and how long they've been in business. And speaking of a long-time Cincinnati company and a builder like yourself, when did Homearama start in the greater Cincinnati area? That was when we were first really kind of exposed to custom homes, wasn't it, Jeff?
It was, and that's a good question. And
You might not have been born yet, Jeff.
I wasn't born yet.
Weren't you? Oh my God!
It was in the '60s, and I believe the first one
68?
was over in off of Anderson Ferry, I believe it was.
Okay.
And I think that's where it was. And one of the people who pioneered this was a guy named Alan Paul, who wanted to showcase a bunch of homes in one spot and be able to show people what they could do. Everybody could just come and see them. They didn't have to drive all over the city and see these homes. And it just kind of expanded from there. And then it was part of the Home Builders Association. They own the naming rights to Homearama, I believe it was, and what year they copyrighted that, and then it just took off. So it's been a long tradition.
Right. One of the biggest home shows really in the country, I think.
It is, and I'm not sure where we stack up today as times change, and everything in the last 20 years has changed quite a bit. But when you and I first met in 1999, that was in Rivers Bend, TPC, in Mainville. And that year, I believe we had nearly 100,000 people come through the show that year.
Wow!
And it was humongous.
Now you've been very active in Homearama. How many homes have you done?
Our company, this is a big celebration for us in 2024. This will be our 25th year building in Homearama in Greater Cincinnati.
Wow.
And it's a big celebration, big milestone for us. And that's not including all the years, my dad chaired the show several years and maybe sometimes didn't always build in it. And then I chaired the show for 5 or 6 years and didn't build in it. And we've just it's been a part of our family and our legacy and our tradition for so long. And then, of course, when I was a kid, that's my first job, started working there. When I was in the 6th grade, and it's just something that's been in our blood. So, and of course, it benefits our company so much by being able to put on display what we do, show everybody the pride that we have in our product, and allowing people to come out. And I just, one of the things I like the best is being able to sit out there and talk to people as they come through and talk to them about building houses, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, the weird question, have you broken ground yet? Because that's what, next summer?
Mike and I, if you want it to rain, just let me go out and dig a basement and we'll get it to rain for you. So my brother and I, we do all of our own excavation, and my brother does all of that. My brother Mike is our excavator. And he and I went out and dug that hole this week, and we poured the footer yesterday in the rain. So, it rained most of the morning. So, yes, we broke ground this week, and so it's a good feeling. But Homearama in 2024 is going to be in stone pillars out in Goshen Township, and just outside of Loveland, and it's on the old Klosterman farm, which Klosterman,
I know exactly where it
Bakery.
is. Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful piece of property out there, and I hope everyone gets a chance to come out and see it. And so and our house is sold, and believe it or not, the people who we are working with to build this house, this is the second home we've built for them and the third project we've done with them. So,
wow,
man, it's just got a lot of highlights to it, and we're really pumped up about it.
Yeah, well, gosh, there speaks for quality right there. And then I know Thursday when we chatted, I was talking about how important it is to pick a builder. And there is, whether it's a builder or even if people listening right now, they're just doing a remodeling or maybe they're doing their kitchen or something like that, you really got to be able to connect. I mean, the builder has to connect with the customer. The customer, equally important, has to connect with the builder. It's a fine line. Communication's the key.
Communication is absolutely the key, and we have that conversation every time we meet somebody. And we're, as a builder, we're sitting there and we are interviewing them as much as they're interviewing us. And there's a reason for that. It's not ego by any means. It's a matter of, we're going to be working together for a long, long time. And a lot of our houses that we build, it takes a year and a half, sometimes 2 years to build that house. So the preparation period is 6 months to a year. The build time is a year and a half, 2 years. And then the warranty period is a year. Plus, that relationship doesn't end at the end of that 1 year warranty. I mean, you want to carry that relationship on for a long time. So it's a big commitment for both of us, and you better make sure that we feel comfortable with each other, working together and communicating. And when I say communicating, I'm not talking about us just talking to each other. I'm talking about, you have to feel comfortable coming up to me and asking me questions. I have to feel comfortable coming to you and asking questions. We have to be able to talk about everything from money to design to anything that happens personally, everything that's going on with that home, and that's really, really important, is to have that connection.
Yeah, that's great advice. And boy, you've acquired a lot of knowledge over the years. And we got about 5 minutes to go, but we reconnected again because we were talking and actually did a podcast together. You started doing your own podcast.
I did. A while back we were writing a blog, and I said, man, I have to write a blog, and then I have to give it to somebody who knows what they're doing writing a blog. And I was thinking, this is the craziest thing in the world.
You sound like me.
And I listen to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast all the time, and I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I'm like, why don't we start our own podcast? And by that afternoon, I think Leanne had everything ordered, and our microphones and our board and everything that we needed. We had a guy that came in and helped us set it up, and we kicked it off with the WB Download is the name of our podcast. And man, I love it because there's, just like you and I just recorded an episode the other day, and I know most of these people that I'm interviewing, but I get to know them more when I'm doing the podcast with them. And there's so many things that just, it expands your heart, it expands your mind, listening to people tell their story and how they arrived to where they're at, talking about what they do. And I love it. I love sitting down and having these conversations with people.
Yeah, it also gives you an opportunity. I mean, you're right. A podcast, when you're doing it with somebody, it gets real personal, and that's cool. And you're exactly right. But I'm sure you're also able to, you learn things from each podcast, right? And from each person, they learn something, and the listener learns something. And life's all about teaching, and probably in a non-threatening way. And congratulations on launching that. I think it's a great idea.
I love it. And like you just said, you learn something every single time. And just sitting in one of my small groups at church Friday morning after you and I had done our podcast on Thursday, you had some words of wisdom. And one of the things I took away from it was, in your life, someone has always believed in you more than you believe in yourself. And that's what you told me on Thursday. Yeah. And I've been preaching that ever since, because I think that is so true. But that's just an example of, I've known you for 25 years,
right?
Or so. And I learned so much more about you. And I just love doing this podcast. It's so cool.
That's great. Now, where do people find that podcast?
They find it anywhere where you get your podcast needs at, on Apple, on Google. You can go to our website, wielandbuilders.com. We have a link to WB Download on our website. You can catch us on social media at Wieland Builders Facebook page, but you can just Google WB Download and you'll find us.
Very good. Well, I'm going to start being a listener, because I sure enjoyed doing the podcast, and you did a great job. And of course, you do a great job home building too, and I'm sure you're sharing tips with that also.
We are, all the time. And if you go back and listen to, and not all of my podcasts have everything to do with building. We've had a couple different people on there from all sorts of different businesses that we're just talking about, but they're friends of ours. But we've done a lot of podcasts on how to choose your home, how to choose your builder, what the difference between custom building and what does custom building mean to you. And I've taken people all the way through the preparation of planning and building a house all the way to the end of completion of a house in these podcast episodes. So a lot of good information, things that I know. And then I beg people, if other builders are listening to the program, if I've said something that you guys could expand on, If there's something else that somebody wants to add, if somebody wants to be a guest on the show, I'm just like, man, please come on, because I love it. I love to create the dialogue more.
Yeah, boy, that's awesome. Well, you keep up the good work, and I know you will. And again, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Jeff, really, maybe they have looking for a property, or maybe they have a piece of property and interested in, making a connection with you, how do people get a hold of you?
Our best way to do it is go through our website. It's wielandbuilders.com. That's WIELAND builders.com. You can email us from the website. You can call us from the website. Anything you need to do is right there. You can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever you want to find us for Wieland Builders in Southwest Ohio. So, Gary, I can't thank you enough for, like I said to you the other day, I can't thank you enough for being in my life, but I appreciate you having me on today.
Well, I appreciate you being on. Thank you very much, Jeff. Have a great fall season, a great winter season, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gary.
All right, my friend. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, Jeff Wieland Builders, and has a great Cincinnati company. It really is, and active in the building community for his whole life, as he said, started in the 6th grade. And I guess many of you listening in your field, you may have started the same way. If you started in a family business, I can pretty much guarantee you started that way. So thanks to Jeff again for joining us today. It was
good interview by both of you.
All right. Again, that podcast is WB Download. WB Download. You can get it at wielandbuilders.com. You can get it wherever podcasts are. You never know. Our podcast may be sitting right next to each other. All right. The music's playing. Danny Boy, thank you much. It was a fast show, wasn't it, Danny?
Very much so.
Yeah, it was fast and fun. And
got another fast show coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Donovan will be in a little while. All right, good Lord willing, Danny and I will both be back tomorrow morning at 9 for more at Home with Gary Sullivan.